This episode of Spectre Sound Studios is brought to you by Adam Audio.
Instructions unclear. Replace vocals and guitar with drum samples. Am I a producer now?
Yes, you are now officially fully qualified to be a modern metal producer. Congratulations, have a wonderful career. Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Friday. That means it's time for SMG Viewers Comments, my show where I try and answer your comments and questions to the best of my ability. So if you got something cool you want to ask about, leave a comment below and I will try and put it on the show if I think it has any value. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that fucking subscribe button. And if you don't like the show, hit it anyway.
Tubes are really expensive, so is it still worth fixing old tube amps for recording purposes with so many amp sims out there?
Yes, because a tube is going to give you a unique sound because no two tubes are exactly the same. You're going to get variations on the theme, whereas if you're using an amp sim, you will be getting the same sound everybody else is getting. I mean, if you want some confirmation on that, go listen to all the records with drum samples on them that sound pretty much exactly the same. It's the same thing with amp sims. Amp sims can be really fucking great. Like 10 years ago, they weren't so great. Now they're starting to get really good. I mean, like we're getting some really good ones just in the VST region. They can be absolutely spectacular, but there is still something about a real tube amp and the way how it reacts to your playing that sims just haven't quite got yet. Maybe another 10 years they will be there. But in the meantime, yes, if you've got a chance to grab an old tube amp and fix it up, go for it. You got nothing to lose besides a few dollars.
Glenn, how many watts do you need for a 2x12 and how big a cab should you use for that Joyo Zombie? And does it take pedals well? Now that I think about it, why don't you talk about pedals much? Why?
I've seen a Joyo Zombie power a 4x12 Marshall cab. My buddy Brandon Wright brought it to a gig. I remember the sound guy laughed at him when he put it on top of this tiny little amp on top of this giant cabinet until he turned it on and went, holy fuck, that sounds great. So you can definitely run a 2x12 with a Joyo Zombie, no problem whatsoever. It's got the power. I'm not sure about it being a pedal platform. I'm not really into pedals all that much. I mean, like, I like wah pedals. I've got a Morley Bad Horsey here, and I've got like a Michael Amat, and I've got a few others. We might even get to see an SMG branded wah pedal at some point. What do you guys think? Would you like to see that? I want to know from you guys. Put a comment in the description below, because if you guys be interested in SMG wah, I think we can make that happen. I think that'd be really fucking cool. But I mean, like, I don't do a lot of pedal content because, I mean, it's kind of boring. I mean, like, have you ever tried watching Henning Pauly's show?
I've been watching the show for some time now, and even though I'm not into mixing and or producing metal or rock music, I even learned a few things about music production and technical stuff. What do you think of those mastering processors like the TC Final or DD Max or Behringer Ultramizer? Are they any good for releasing some music, or is this all just fairy dust?
I don't know how wise it would be to get those these days with what's available just in freeware VSTs. I mean, like, I usually do a yearly video on freeware stuff, and I've got one coming up for my top picks for 2020 for free plugins, and there's definitely some mastering grade stuff in there. So I'd recommend maybe checking that out before dropping money on a hardware box that's gonna do pretty much the same thing.
See, I'm sure this question has been answered before, and maybe this video isn't necessarily the place to asking in, but what is the video editing program used in this show, and what's the computer screen recording program that used throughout the show when plugins are demonstrated?
I use DaVinci Resolve. It's available for free. The basic version is, and it's super capable, and it doesn't crash all the time like Adobe Premiere does, and they don't nickel and dime you to death every fucking month. You buy it, you own it, that's awesome. And for screen capping, I use ScreenFlow, and that is probably the catalyst, the main reason I switched over to the Mac OS, because you cannot get ScreenFlow for the PC, and it is a wonderful program for doing video tutorials, that kind of thing. It just kind of streamlined my whole work process and allowed me to do more tutorials, more lessons, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, for me, it really did the trick, and I was more than happy to drop the money on ScreenFlow, and I am a proud owner of that program. And I wouldn't try editing anything with it because it was as slow as fucking molasses, and that's why I use Resolve to edit that shit too. Hey everybody, just gonna break in here for a second. This episode is sponsored by Adam Audio. Now, you guys have seen me mix with these guys. These are the A7Xs. I've had these for a couple years. They're great monitors. Did a lot of good stuff with these. Got some new toys in this week. Back here, I got the S2Vs. They're rated for about 350 watts, and wow, do they ever kick out the jams. I'm shocked by the amount of bottom end coming out of these things, and that's thanks to the onboard DSP. You can hook these up to your machine via USB, and you can program an EQ curve and balance them out and do all kinds of neat stuff. Very cool indeed. Like I said, I've just had these for the day, and so far I'm really digging it. And you're going to hear the results over the next couple of weeks on the show because I'm going to be doing all my mixes through them. Anyway, for more information, check out adamaudio.com in the description below. Thanks to them again for sponsoring. Anyway, let's get back to it.
I'm new to a lot of this, but maybe you should stop using Reaper. Ivy never used Reaper, but you keep saying, look at this new plugin when I'm sitting like, wait, don't you have that with Reaper? Mixcraft Pro has all this stuff with it. The performance panel is awesome with changing up arrangements and taking full capability of writing. I'm not with them trying to promote them, but I definitely think you should try it out. They have a free trial, but limited to what you can do. They also have classes for free to teach you how to use their normal and new features. Maybe you could do a review on it and open my mind to why maybe it's not as good as I think. Like I said, I'm new to this, so I'm as stupid as much as I have learned. Only a few months, so pretty stupid. Not trying to talk like I know what I'm saying, just observation.
Maybe I should stop using Reaper. Care to explain why? Great thing about Reaper is it's got amazing functionality. You can set it up however you want, and the built-in plugins are really fucking amazing. Now, I don't know if this is actually out yet, but I just spent a week shooting a video on doing a full-fledged metal mix, and I'm talking like 64 tracks with the symphony and everything, with nothing but free plugins, most of which are included in Reaper. I take a super deep dive into the whole JS plugins, which I've never really done before, and there's some really killer stuff in there that's not going to cost you a fucking dime. I haven't tried Mixcraft. You know what? I'm certainly not going to rule it out. I'll try anything at least once. I mean, you know, I tried out Harrison Mixbus. I really like it. Hopefully they got some shit fixed. I've got the new version. I've got to take a look at that as well. But oh, maybe you should stop using Reaper. I mean, like, come on, man, that's just dumb. Lots of people work with lots of different systems, but I've never gone up to another engineer and said, oh, you should stop using that mix platform. It's like, if you're comfortable with it and you get good results, that's what's important. I don't know, maybe unstick your head from your ass.
Fuck Repair!
It's Reaper, dumbass. Maybe figure that out before you start criticizing what other people are using. We'll wait. Maybe a very long time.
Glenn, serious question. Just for the hell of it, I ordered a 2TB USB 3.0 thumb drive. Are these fast enough to be useful for holding real-time audio? I'm a PC user for years, so the idea of 2 terabytes on a stick just trips me out. What are your thoughts? And fuck you, Glenn.
Well, I would say this. Why don't you drop Reaper on it, and you can probably run the whole damn thing off that thumb drive. That's the great thing about Reaper. It's got such a small footprint, you can do that. I mean, we were doing this years ago with Saw Studio. I mean, like 10, 12 years ago, because Saw was written in assembler. It was so fucking fast and didn't, like, you know, hook itself into Windows in a million different ways, so you could run that like no fucking problem. But I think Reaper could probably pull it off these days as well. Some of the other programs out there, maybe not so much, but yeah, it's definitely worth giving it a shot. The great thing is Reaper, even though it's not free, it does have full functionality, and you just got to keep clicking that nag screen. So yeah, grab a copy, try it out.
Even though I got a degree in audio production from my community college, I'm primarily a musician with a home studio. I don't always know what Glenn's talking about, but I listen anyway. I figure something might rub off on me.
Well, there you go, man. I went to Sheridan College in Oakville, Ontario, definitely a community college. One thing I learned there was a lot of basic stuff about audio, but I learned most of the real shit on my own time. So it really, you just got to put some time in, read as much as you can. And well, we've got YouTube as a wonderful resource. So I definitely recommend checking out how to record heavy guitar, how to record heavy drums, how to mix heavy drums. That's one. And I've got a new series about that where I'm working with AIX DSP about mixing drums. And I've got a new one coming out, or it should be out by now. It'll be out sooner or later. Anyway, doing like 1 or 2 videos a month with those guys. So definitely worth watching that. But pay attention. I'm going to throw as many tutorials as I can. You guys have been giving me some really amazing tutorial ideas. I got about 6 or 7 written down, and I think we're going to make that into a weekly series. So there's that to look forward to as well. And for that, I thank you guys oh so much.
Newbie question, what's the white noise track and why is it useful?
Oh wow, somebody finally spotted that. I was actually doing something there last year, and I made a template around it. I don't really use that too much anymore, but I was experimenting. Dave Velez sat me down and made me watch a couple of Rick Beato videos, and Rick was, you know, deconstructing a mix, and he was showing, you know, how white noise was added to a snare track. And I thought I'd give it a shot, you know, because Reaper has a built-in white noise generator, and that wonderful gating system that they've got where you can do look ahead and all this cool stuff is just to add maybe a splash of grit into the snare. And this is before, obviously, you know, we discovered that 214 trick on the bottom snare mic. So I really don't need it in the mixes I was using, but I did try it out on a couple things. I wanted, number one, to see if anybody would notice, and number two, just wanted to see how practical it was. But I only used it on a couple of projects. It's cool, but unnecessary, I think. It's like, again, I think I'd just rather get the sound of the drummer.
Hey Glenn, I'm working on building a studio for music production. Do you have any videos for how to set up a studio?
No, not yet. That's something I might be looking at in the future if I ever build an expansion to this place or get a second spot. That might be a possibility at some point. In that case, I'd like to partner up with some brands, possibly, some of the acoustic brands and that kind of thing. But if you are looking for studio construction information, I've said this a million times on this show, the John Sayers Studio Design Forum. They helped me construct this place, and it's a magnificent resource with a whole bunch of different builders in there and a whole bunch of different ideas how to go about building your own space. I definitely recommend checking that place out. They can help you out, and they can help you get some plans designed and debate some different ideas. Definitely the place to go if you want to build your own home studio. Let's put it this way. If I do wind up building an expansion on this place, you can bet I'll be going to that forum to bounce ideas off of people.
Hey Glenn, I love the channel, great reviews, amazing info, and I love seeing the butthurt comments from snowflakes that can't handle honesty. However brutal said honesty may be. Anyway, I just purchased a Zoom G3 and effects pedal. As far as I can tell, so far it seems to work and sound pretty great. Be curious as to your take. If you have a chance, could you do a fearless review on it? Thanks, and fuck you from the Yukon territory.
Wow, that's amazing, dude. All the way from the Yukon. Thanks so much for watching, man. That's so amazing to hear that there's actually people up there who watch that shit. I know I've got some friends up in Inuit territory in northern Quebec. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for watching the show. Thank you for all your support. You guys are fucking unbelievable. I would love to visit one day. I'd love to visit the Yukon one day. In the summer, though, of course. Not going up there anytime between September and June. Seriously, though, I think that'd be a really cool place. As per the Zoom question, I haven't used that particular unit, so I wouldn't know. My only experience with Zoom was I bought one of the rack units back in the 90s. Had it for a couple days and took it back. I mean, I've got a Zoom 4K camera with a recorder. The recorder part of this is actually pretty cool. I like that. The camera, no. I've never actually used that camera on my show because I'm just like, no. My cell phone looks better. My iPhone has a better camera than that thing. So yeah, that's my experience. Zoom's kind of hit or miss when it comes to stuff. I know their field recorders are second to none, but when it comes to guitar effect, I don't have enough experience with their product to give you a fair and honest opinion. So I'm just going to defer that one to the crowd. You guys tell me. Is that any good?
You forgot the best thing of all. Can service modules individually. It's been left 4 channels down multiple times because I had to service a 4-channel mic pre, even though only one of the pre's was faulty.
Of course, you're talking about the 10 reasons why 500 series gear is better. Yes, you are right on the money. I've had op amps in my API preamps go down, and I've had to swap those out individually. API was very good with the tech support on that, by the way. Got me a new op amp mailed up just on request. Hey, here you go, no problem. You just got to pay the rape me shipping fees and the import charges and all the rest of the bullshit. But yes, you can get your preamp back up and rolling with minimal fuss. It's just like swapping out a fucking light bulb almost. So that is pretty simple. And yes, you're absolutely right about being able to do 1 channel at a time. That is one of the absolutely greatest advantages of the 500 series. And keep your eyes peeled, guys. I've got more 500 series reviews coming out. I just did one the other day for Roll Music, their tube mic preamp and tube compressor. Fucking absolutely stellar stuff. Definitely worth the cash. Anyway, that's coming up real soon.
Man, I would absolutely love to do a 500 series desk like Steve Vai, Kurt Ballou, or Kevin Andresian, but I seriously don't have that kind of money to spend on gear. Unfortunately, I'm stuck with plugins. Thanks for doing the video. Love geeking out to awesome gear and all the possibilities.
Kevin Andresian's a good buddy of mine. We actually used to play Elite Dangerous before this show took off like crazy, and I couldn't put nearly as much time into it. But he sent me some pictures up of his 500 series rack, and yeah, he's got some incredibly awesome fucking 500 series gear. Kind of jealous almost, it's got some cool stuff. Here's the thing, not all 500 series gear is super expensive though. Like the Alctron stuff, the preamps are fucking stellar for $150. Really great stuff. The Midas compressor, $250 a channel. Great stuff. Not hyper expensive. Again, you can get the Cranborne mic pre's are $350 and might be some of the best mic preamps on earth. You guys remember that track I did for the Austrian Audio OC818? That was with the Cranborne preamps with a little bit of those Mojo knobs thrown in. The guitar sound we got was just holy fuck. So you don't necessarily have to break the bank, but you do have to throw down some cash for a decent power supply. So there is a bit of that trade-off, but ultimately 500 series gear is going to give you a lot more flexibility and is going to be cheaper per channel in the long run. So it is definitely worth taking a look at.
I bought the Midas L6 rack last week as I had suspicion those noise issues were hugely overblown, or maybe just on the initial launch units a few years back. Surprise supplies, it's dead silent. Extremely well built, good linking and bus features on the back, and no noise at all. I'm very picky with this stuff, and I've tried numerous modules in different positions in the rack, and it's still quiet. So despite what anybody is saying about that, I wouldn't hesitate to buy one if you want to get into 500 series cheaply and don't need the extra features of something like the Cranborne.
Hey, Clinton, I really do appreciate that commentary because, yeah, I've been wondering the same question. Hey, what is that Midas 500 series all about? Isn't any good? I mean, you go on Gear Sluts, and of course, because it doesn't cost $1,000 or $2,000, people are like, oh, it's fucking noisy, without bothering to provide any evidence to back up that kind of statement. All you've got is people taking an idea and pulling it out of their ass and offering it up to you. So if you like ideas that have been pulled out of asses, Gear Sluts is definitely the place for you. For the rest of us, I definitely want to get one and put it to the test. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that here, or it's going to have to happen down in LA. The whole lockdown situation is kind of a big question mark right now. Don't know what's going on yet. I do want to investigate and do a noise test because I think that'd be really fucking important. That being said, the Cranborne is infinitely more flexible and infinitely more useful in many respects because it has the onboard summing and the onboard analog to digital converters, so you can just hook the whole thing right into your ADAT inputs and outputs on your audio interface. And oh, is it ever fucking great. Cranborne really knocked it out of the park with that one.
Hey Glenn, I hope you see this. I'm a 21-year-old broke audio student, but I've built up a pretty neat home studio setup. The only thing I haven't looked into yet is analog effects. I'm really interested in analog compressors. Is there a big of a difference between analog and plug-in compressors? If so, where should I begin to look? Is there an all-around analog compressor that you can recommend that won't break the bank? Cheers from Germany and Fitch Ditch. Glenn.
First and foremost, the best analog compressor that is all around is the Empirical Labs Distressor. Still got mine back here. Still using it on this video. It's awesome. Can't recommend it enough. I bought mine back in 2003 and it still winds up on everything because it just works on everything. It's one of those rare pieces of gear that works well on everything. If you're looking for something that's going to work on everything and be cheap, no, it's just not going to happen. But, the FMR, really nice compressor is great, and the Art Pro VLA2, fantastic. And again, if you want to get into the Midas stuff, the Midas compressor is really great. It's not perfect, but it's killer on bass guitar and some voiceover work, that kind of thing. It's not too bad on snare either. I am going to be doing a video where I shoot out various analog compressors versus plugins because I can do that thanks to the Cranborne unit because of that built-in AD. And I can use all of my outboard effects like I would use a plugin. Obviously, there's going to be some differences when it comes to recall and that kind of thing, but the difference in the mix isn't subtle. And you guys are going to be shocked. You guys should really hear this. So I'm going to have that coming up in the next week or two because I think that's a really valuable episode to do.
Is it bad when you're 18 and your family still makes you go to church and make you believe in what they believe in?
Yes, that is brainwashing. Believe what the fuck you want to believe. You're a big boy, make up your own mind. And if your parents disown you because you choose not to believe, well, they weren't very good people now, were they?
I don't know about the Midas lunchbox. It's probably fine for the beginner engineer or someone looking to get into 500 series. Remember, if it's cheap on Gear Sluts, it sucks.
Yeah. You might have a point there, but I think we can drop the on and the it from your last part of that statement. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for hitting that fucking subscribe button. And if you haven't, why the fuck not?